Get cozy, guys, because we're bringing old school YouTube back. I'm doing a 2025 favorites video. This is, I think, my first favorites video on this channel, and I'm honestly so excited about it. This is going to be like my little year in review, my 2025 wrapped, if you will. I've got myself a nice cinnamon sugar iced hojicha, and I suggest you guys grab a cozy drink as well. I want this to be like your best friend doing a show and tell on FaceTime for you. So I hope we can achieve that today, and I hope you guys like it. I've written everything down in my journal, of course, and I try to focus not solely on like product, consumer space things. I've obviously got books, movies, media, music, and I'm going to finish on my favorite lessons and moments of the year as well, which I think is also really, really important to take into consideration. But maybe let's start with the fun stuff. Maybe let's start with my fashion favorites of the year, because I always get so many questions about what I'm wearing, specifically these pieces that I'm about to show you. The first couple favorites are brands as well as their actual pieces, and if you don't know already, get to know, it had to be Mode Mischief for my first fashion favorite of the year. You guys have seen me rinse and repeat their Cost skirt. It's this cute little wrap midi skirt, and it comes in a bunch of different prints and colors. I have two of the prints and a white version as well. I just feel so comfortable, confident, and the most myself when I wear these skirts. I've styled them throughout every single season. These are probably the best clothing investment you'll ever make if you like the style of them, of course, but I've definitely gotten my cost per wear out of these. My next favorite is Oak Meadow, and these pieces from Oak Meadow, which you guys always ask about, and I wear them all the time as well. In fact, I'm wearing their Celine blouse at the moment. None of this is sponsored. These are just brands that I truly love and adore, and I wear these pieces non-stop, and they've become such a big part of me developing my personal style this year. Not just in a material sense, but also mentally and metaphysically. I've found myself this year. Part of that has been playing into that more playful, childlike qualities of my personality, if that makes sense, through my clothes, and just really enjoying wearing flouncy little girly numbers that make me feel so me and make my inner child happy. And Oak Meadow is one of those brands. This shape that they do as well is also one of my favorites. I have it in a red color that I wear all the time, and all of the little details are so special. The more recent piece that I got from them, this gorgeous little baby doll dress, I wore it in my last video, I think, or the one before that, and you guys really loved it as well, so I thought I had to include it here. And then we're getting more into accessories. I had to include my little weekend Max Mara pasticcini. I went a bit crazy when I went to Italy last year. This is the first one that I got, and it was very fitting that the first big pasticcino that I bought was baby pink, because if you know me, you know this is my color and my favorite color. I love the playful vintage element with the huge kiss lock clasp, and it has the sweetest little striped lining on the inside. This might sound silly, but Max Mara was, I think, my mum's favorite brand, and anytime we would travel to Italy, she would treat herself to something from there, and I have such vivid memories of going shopping, especially in Venice actually, watching my mum put on these beautiful clothes and shoes and accessories, and just being in awe of her and her style. Being able to now be 27 and purchase my own Max Mara pieces, I mean, these are weekend Max Mara, one day maybe I'll be able to afford Max Mara. No, these pieces would bring my mum so much joy too, and if she were here, we would be sharing them together and having so much fun filling them with all of our things together. I'm very lucky that I have my Zia, my auntie, my mum's sister, who I went shopping with in Italy to share our pasticcino collection with. So yeah, these are special for so many more reasons than just the fact that they're a cute bag. Finishing off the fashion favorites with my most worn ballet flats of the year, and this is my #1 ballet flat recommendation if you're looking for some comfortable flats that are going to be worth the investment. These are the Aloha's Rosalind flats, and I'm not showing you my actual most worn ones, which are the dark brown burgundy color, because those are disgusting and worn into the ground. I also bought myself the cream, but I haven't gravitated towards them as much. I'm thinking of getting them stained a darker color, or maybe a red or something fun. But guys, when you break these in, I mean, they don't need much breaking because the leather's really soft. They are just the most comfortable ballet flats, especially if you have wide feet, because you can see that the toe box here is not narrow whatsoever. The one annoying thing about these these is that the bow does come undone very often. You just have to make sure that from the beginning you double knot it. You can put a little stitch in it or something. One annoying thing about it, but it's honestly worth it for how good these are. I walked 20,000 plus steps a day in Europe in these. Love, love, love. Time for beauty favorites, and this is going to be a quick one because I do the same makeup and skincare and it's just not interesting at all. Something new that I incorporated into my routine at the start of this year is drawing on little freckles. I recently got my new favorite freckle pen, which is from an Adelaide-based, shout out Adelaide, beauty brand called Fluffy Beauty, and this is like a freckle stain and it's really cool. It has a little 5-point dot system on one side, and then on the other side it has this little pen that you can use to do your little beauty marks, or you can even use it as a lip stain, which is what I do every day as well. 2025 is the year that I feel like I really finally discovered my taste in fragrance, because it's been sort of a world that I haven't been a part of for so long. I've been having so much fun just playing around with scents. I get sent quite a lot of different fragrances, which is really cool because I get to wear things that I might not have picked out for myself. I'm really indecisive when it comes to choosing a fragrance, so getting to just play around with them with no pressure is really fun. And this has been my favorite fragrance of the year that I've been sent, but I know that I'm definitely going to be repurchasing this when it runs out. This is from Aesop and it's their newest release. It's called Above Aurora and it's got the most delicious like cardamom, frankincense, vanilla, but not in the way that you might think. It's so warm and spicy and cozy, but nothing about Aesop scents is artificial, and that's what I love so much about them. Because of that very reason, even when it's quite a warm and cozy, very spicy scent, it's not overpowering. There's still almost a freshness to it. I feel like a lot of their fragrances are like essential oil based, so yeah, it just feels very natural and it settles into the warmth of your skin perfectly. If you haven't smelt this yet, definitely go and give it a try. And then let's get into hair, because that kind of counts as beauty. What I style it with is my Dyson. I know this might be annoying for you guys to hear because these are so incredibly expensive, and if you can find a dupe for this, then by all means I would definitely recommend that. But I had been using the dupes for many years, yes, and unfortunately this might be the best. I don't know, I could be fooled. I might find another dupe that ends up being better, but for now, this year, this has been my powerhouse. I style my hair once a week basically. I wash my hair, I do the whole Dyson routine, and then this is the key. I sleep with a bonnet every single night. So every night I will brush out my hair and then I'll twist my hair the same way that I've curled it, put it up into my bonnet, and that sort of keeps my hair in place. Sometimes I might wrap my fringe in a sock as well. And then when I wake up the next morning, I take off my bonnet, brush out my hair, and the curls are just the same as what I did the day before. It'll gradually drop throughout the week. The Dyson once a week plus the bonnet is just unmatched. That's definitely my number one like hair tip beauty favorite of the year. Okay, next, why don't we do music and movies? Or should I say music, movies and media, because I have some TV shows in here as well. Guys, I honestly forgot every single movie that I watched this year, and I couldn't think of something that was my real favorite because I like to rewatch a lot of things over and over and over again, like my comfort movies and TV shows. But I will say that Perfect Days probably has to be my favorite movie of the year. I just recently rewatched it to get excited for Japan with my brother and Nina. I think that movie is so special to me. It always leaves me feeling so inspired, not just on the main character's outlook on life, but also in the way that it's shot and the cinematography, in specific those dream sequences, the black and white dream sequences he has with the dappled light and shadows. Probably my favorite movie, and the only movie I could really remember. I'm gonna probably kick myself while editing this and go, oh, I really wanted to include that. Too bad I can't think of anything. And then I do have to say that Too Much was probably one of my favorite shows of the year. It was really funny, and I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did, but I feel like I really connected to it mainly because of the soundtrack. There were some songs in there that when paired with specific scenes, oh, it was so good. It was so good. And I feel like it really scratched that itch that I was missing from Girls. It's really rare to have a really good TV show lately that's not super cheesy. I'm really enjoying I Love LA at the moment as well. And I also really enjoyed Hacks, which I watched with Paul. We binged the whole thing. We watched it on my new projector and that was so fun. We immediately fell in love with it. It was so funny and it really spoke to the current moment while still being funny and without being cringy. Like a show like And Just Like That, for example, the way that they add in all of these like PC little elements just feels so boomer and cringe and gross, and it almost too far left that it goes right, if you know what I'm saying. But I feel like Hannah Einbinder plays such an incredible character and such an incredible role in this show, and she does it so well. I watched one of her interviews speaking on Palestine and Zionism, and I feel like, yeah, she's just a really important person to have in this space, and I loved what she did in this show. Little music favorites. I'm definitely guilty of listening to my comfort songs or albums over and over again, and one of those for me this year was definitely Reading, Writing and Arithmetic by the Sundays. Also Static and Silence, of course. I spent so much time in my studio just rinsing those two albums on repeat over and over and over, and I just feel like the Sundays are very much girl in her mid to late 20s living alone in an apartment creating art kind of soundtrack vibes. They're very special to me. And on the other end of the spectrum, I have an Italian artist that I rediscovered this year and really enjoyed. He's called Calcutta. That's in my Australian accent, but if you're Italian and you like Italian indie, you're gonna be like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Really loved his song Frosinone this year. Gaetano was the other one that I really liked. Listening to Italian music just helps me learn Italian and vocab way more. Another favorite for this year and basically every year is any song that was produced by Hynes, who's Blood Orange. So Losing You by Solange, Sky Ferreira, you know the drill. Any of those songs as well as actual Blood Orange, obsessed with. And then I've always loved Phase Days, but I recently got her new album Soft Power. If you haven't listened already, go and do so. Both of her albums are so perfect and incredible, and specifically her song Cherry Pie. It's so good, guys. It is so good, especially for summer. I know most of you are probably in the depths of winter right now, but that song is so good. I couldn't make a favorites video without doing my favorite YouTubers, of course. I've already done quite a few lists of these over on my TikTok channel, so go watch those. So I'm just gonna include a few here. First one, and I have to include her every time because she's probably one of my most watched. In fact, I think she was 1 or 2 on my YouTube Wrapped of the Year, is Chetan. Hi Chetan, if you're watching this. I just love your videos. They're so cozy. If you haven't watched her videos yet, I suggest you go do so. I feel like everyone here on this channel would definitely love what Chetan puts out. She's also a ceramicist slash artist, but she's living in Seoul in South Korea, and I love her style and her art style. It's quite a lot different to mine, but it's still very inspiring to me, and she just seems so lovely, and I hope to one day meet her if I ever go to Seoul. And then on that same sort of train, ceramicist artist, I have my friend Emma. Specifically, I really loved her videos from this year about her Japanese art residency. In the countryside in Japan, she did a little ceramics residency and she filmed the whole thing. She was there for 2 months. It's across multiple videos, and that was so inspiring to me. I loved watching her live this slow and intentional life in Japan and create every single day for ceramics and do the traditional anagama kiln firing. That was so cool. And getting to meet her and be friends with her in real life now as well just is an extra layer to the videos. I love having friends that have YouTube channels because it means I get to see more of their life every single day, and that makes me so happy. A very random rogue favorite in here, who was actually my number 3 on my YouTube Wrapped for this year, is a channel called Probably Riding. And you guys know I ride my bike a lot, but I don't share a lot about how much into the cycle scene I kind of really am. This guy, he's from England, I believe. He's lived in Seoul for I think 8 or 9 years now. He just has a really cool bike collection, and he rides around the city talking about bikes, life, sometimes politics, just living this kind of slow and very intentional life. I really love his videos, especially his videos traveling to Japan as well. He did a Tokyo toilet tour on his bike inspired by Perfect Days, and I can't wait to go to Tokyo in a month and hire bikes and do a little Perfect Days tour as well. So random YouTube favorite, but I had to include him. I feel like I'm talking so much, but I want to include everything. If you guys need a little break, pause this video now, go and take a little break, but don't click away. because we've got some good things to talk about. We've got some good things to finish on here. It's time to talk about books, and I found it really hard to condense my year of reading into some favorites for this video because I don't want to keep you here for hours and hours and hours. I do have some overarching like 5-star reads that shaped who I am as a person in 2025 that I had to share with you, and probably my favorite book of the year, and this was a hard choice between two, but I'm gonna have to say it was To Rest Our Minds and Bodies by Harriet Armstrong, and this is actually her debut novel. It came out in June of this year, and I found it in July in an English bookstore in Stockholm, and I was immediately drawn to the cover because it has a little xoxo painting on it, and I was like, I want to see what this book is. I did not expect it to be one of the most relatable, nostalgic, and heart-wrenching novels that I have ever read. It gave me the same feeling I had as when I first read Normal People, but probably even better and just even more of a visceral reaction. I felt so incredibly attached to the main character in this story. The main character is a young woman who's in, I think, one of her first years of university, and it's about her experience as a young woman in the world, living in a uni flat, and her friendship and maybe relationship that she has with a boy that's also living in her same flat. Guys, reading books like this truly makes me realize why art is so important in the world, because this book put into words some of the feelings that I've had embedded so deeply within me about my experience growing up as a young woman, having these feelings towards boys and people and about the world around me. It put those feelings all into words in a way that I could never have done, and I so deeply resonated with every aspect of this book. The ending was a little bit unsatisfactory, but it was so realistic. Yeah, evoked quite an emotional response within me. I feel like I have lived this book. It was so good that I gave it to Paul to read, and I said, here's this book. If you want to know me better, we've been dating for 8 years now, but I was like, if you want to know me at a deeper level that I could never explain to you, read this book, read these words. Anyway, that's my must read. I hope you guys like it as well if you do read it. This was my other contender for #1 book of the year, which was Motherhood by Sheila Heti, or Sheila Heti. Again, I made a whole TikTok video about this, and I could really go more into depth about this, but this is so important to me, and I feel like I will always have it and refer back to it. It's so comforting to hear words from this character who's grappling with the decision to have or to not have children. If you're in the same position, like I said before, I definitely think you should read it, and I want to choose a little quote to read out for you guys here. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave you with this. I fear that without children, it doesn't look like you have made a choice, or that you're doing anything but just continuing on. There is a positive thing that is being lived and chosen by those who don't want children. But how can we say what that is when parents feel they have lived it too and that they know it well? Yet many of them lived it without choosing it, or lived it while knowing it was going to end. Some people try to imagine what it's like not to have children, and they imagine themselves without children instead of picturing a person they might never be. A person who can't understand why someone doesn't want children only has to locate their feelings for children and imagine that desire directed somewhere else, to a life that is just as filled with hope, purpose, futurity, and care. Yeah. Last 2 books I've spoken about a lot. You just have to go watch my past videos, but Real Estate by Deborah Levy, which I think is the last book in her autobiographical trilogy. This one is specifically centered on a woman making a physical space for herself in the world. It really resonated with me in that way. And the last one would be My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. Go and watch my Italy vlog where I spoke about this, but this book was also so special to me and my Italian summer. Getting to the end of my drink here, and I'm sorry, we're also getting to the end of this video. I have a few miscellaneous favorites, just things that don't really fit into any kind of category. I would say my #1 in this category is reading from solely female authors. I don't know if you can tell, that's just something I've really enjoyed this year. I have not heard from a man in written form this year. I love that, and I want to keep it that way. Why would I want to hear from a man? I'm sorry. Don't delete the comment that you're writing right now. Just delete it. we don't need to hear it. And the next thing is probably just trying new creative things without pressure, like the omnicord from my last video, watercolor pencils, pastels, things like that. Just connecting to that side of my creativity without pressure has been a big part of my year too. Then I have dates with butter and salt. If you guys haven't tried this snack, try it. It tastes like salted caramel. I can't take credit for this. My Zia got me onto this snack and it's honestly so dangerous, but I love making up a little cute little tea tray or plate with these. And then I have my e-bike on here, and I've spoken about this a lot as well, but this has truly changed my life. And I guess alongside this is just not using my car. I hate using my car. I hate being stuck in traffic. I hate everything that cars represent. I just love, love, love my e-bike from Lecker. Now, why don't we do some of my favorite moments from this year? This year has been, I would say, quietly beautiful. It wasn't as explosive and expansive as 2023 for me, as 2024 for me. Gosh, the years are really flying by. There were lots and lots of lows, but some of these highs really made my year. Like the start of this year I spent in Sydney with my auntie. Nina was there for a bit. Paul and I celebrated our 7-year anniversary, hanging out with my friends in Sydney, Maddie and Birta even. That was an incredible beginning to my 2025, and I feel like it really set the tone for the rest of my year. And then I do have to say the events that I hosted in conjunction with House of Happy Hour and also Nina, our cozy club, have been so amazing, just getting to meet you guys more in person. By the way, Nina and I are doing another cozy club in Adelaide on the 20th of December. Please come to that. We'd love to see you. It's free. There's no tickets that you need to buy or anything. Just rock up. I'll have all the details here. And then obviously my big Europe trip was incredible. Traveling with Paul again for the first time in such a long time, just us two. It was so fun to show him my favorite spots in Copenhagen, to experience Sweden together for the first time, and then to go back to Italy where we met up with my brother. My brother and Paul get along so well, and that was so fun to hang out with them in the Dolomites. And then just making new internet friends there. My friend Elsa introduced me to so many of her friends in Barcelona and Copenhagen, and I just connected with so many people and put myself outside of my comfort zone because I'm quite an introvert, I would say. And yeah, that was really fun, and I'm really proud of myself that I did that. And then my recent favorite is definitely starting my antidepressants. I feel like a new person. I'm so, I don't know, I'm just not stressed anymore, and I don't wake up with a sense of impending doom. I spoke about this in my Substack article, but it's been one of the best things that I've ever done for my mental health and health in general. So if you're scared about it, don't be. We can maybe have a chat in the comments about it if you have any questions or queries. But yeah, and I thought we could finish this video off with some of my favorite lessons that I've learned in 2025, because that was honestly the biggest part of my year. You guys get to see what I put out on camera, and I overshare with you guys a lot, especially here on YouTube. But there's been a huge part of my year that I haven't shared online and about my personal journey, and probably 99% of that will continue to keep private just for my sake. But there are a few lessons that I've learned this year that I wanted to share with you guys, and I feel like, yeah, I should, and I can, and I will. First biggest lesson relates to my last point about antidepressants, because this lesson was a hard one for me to learn, or kind of unlearn some of the things that I've been telling myself for 27 years, that it is not a failure to need medication or to really need help with your mental health. I learned the lesson that at my age, I'm staring down the barrel of 30, Nina's gonna laugh at this because I always talk about how old I am, realizing I'm almost 30 and I cannot keep living my life this way. And this year I committed to spending lots of money, because it's so expensive, on my mental health, and the return that I've gotten from that has been priceless, truly. And I don't think everyone's in the position to do this at all. I wish it was more accessible, but where I am right now with my career, I was able to do that. It was also a conscious decision of me being like, no, this is for my health. I should be putting the money into this. Another lesson that sort of relates to motherhood by Sheila Heti is this year I feel like I'm finally starting to accept fully, I can choose, or you can choose, to live your life exactly the way that you want it. And it does not have to look like anybody else expects it to look. That might sound very simple and it might sound very obvious, but when you actually get down to it, it's harder to break down those societal systems that are so entrenched in our everyday, like people's expectations of you and your partner, people's expectations of you no matter what gender you are. There are so many rules and expectations, like unwritten, that we feel like we have to follow every day. And finally starting to break down my shame around not following those paths made me feel so much better about my life. I don't wake up early in the mornings because I can't. That's just not something that I do. And that's not because I'm unproductive. It's just because that's not what works for me. I don't want to get married. I don't want to have kids. That doesn't make me any less of a person and any less of a woman. It's just what I want to do with my life. And it's been really nice to realize some of these things. This one is probably one of the biggest ones of this year. And I feel like now that it's reached the end of this year, I've reached a crux on my learning with this, and I finally understood it, also through lots of therapy, but I don't even know how to say this. This year I learned that sometimes people aren't who they seem to be, online or otherwise, and sometimes people aren't who you wish them to be or who you expect them to be, because you might have a different reality in your head, and it's okay to be upset at that. Following on from that, I feel like I lost so much of my artistic worth and expression this year because I was giving away my power to somebody or something that wasn't what I wished it wasn't what I expected it to be, and I was letting that dictate my actions. I was letting that dictate how I showed up online, how I showed up creatively, and I'm really upset at how this situation has affected me, but I'm also proud of myself for staying true to myself throughout the whole thing and true to my values and my beliefs. And I'm happy that sitting here now at the end of 2025, I'm coming out the other side of it. And I spoke about this in my Substack as well, but just this idea of not giving power to these situations that are outside of your control and outside of your sphere. Because the most important thing at the end of the day is yourself and what you create. And I don't mean that as in, you know, treat other people badly. I just mean that don't let somebody else's actions or behavior affect how you are going to show up. I was letting that happen for so long, and I don't want to do that anymore. And I've been working my way out of that. And at the end of this year, I feel like I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel with that. And I'm really proud of myself for that, if that makes sense. But that's all I'll say on that. And the last thing I'll say is probably the most important thing. And this lesson is that you can't lose. You can never lose if you're standing up for what you believe in. You might lose money, opportunity, family members, relationships, but all of that is worth it to live a life that is true to your values and what you believe in. I feel like the Palestinian liberation movement has taught me so much, and it's fundamentally changed how I view the world. Just moving forward with any other issues like what's currently going on in Sudan, anything, it has fundamentally changed who I am as a person, how I talk about these issues, what I engage with, and who I engage with, how I engage with them. And you know, it did cause a huge rupture in my family life. It can be easy to void yourself of any responsibility and say, how could I as one person make any difference by doing anything? But if every person on this planet thought that way and was apathetic and acted passively, then nothing would ever happen. Some of the biggest things that you can do are actually just these small conversations and speaking up for what you truly believe in, learning about what you truly believe in. So yeah, on that, free Palestine, free Sudan, and that's the end of my 2025 favorites video. Can't believe we're at the end of another year. How was your guys' 2025? What are you looking forward to in 2026? Personally, I think this year was a lot of hibernating and healing, and I feel like next year is going to be really fun, and I'm going to have that sort of explosive growth again. That's just what I'm feeling in my bones at the moment, but we'll see. I've got lots of exciting things happening, and I'm vlogging it all for you guys in the next few weeks, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for being here once again. Thank you so much for almost 40,000 subscribers. Hope we get there by the end of the year, fingers crossed. And I will see you guys very, very soon.